Will the narcissist finally get what they deserve? Because they've been doing these horrible things to you for such a long time now. And you've just been having to put up with it. You've been having to deal with all of it. And it's like you've been manipulated, exploited, abused, humiliated. And on top of that, even though it's highly contradictory, but as well as being humiliated, you've also been blamed as though it's all your fault, as though you're to blame for everything. And this has been a burden that you've had to carry for such a long time. And it's just a very heavy thing on your soul. And to take on all of this responsibility, all of these things are being done to you, and then not only that, you're the only one there to deal with it. No one believes you, or no one cares about you, and they all just seem to support this narcissist. And it just seems like they've completely gotten away with it, as though now it's just your thing to deal with, when you didn't even do anything wrong. You didn't even do anything that warranted that type of treatment. So of course, I can understand it must feel very unfair for you to have to go through all of that. And to be an innocent person where it's like, you didn't do anything wrong, or what you're meant to have done wrong, it was just in reaction to all of the provocation. And despite that, you were innocent. You didn't hold any ill intentions. You didn't wish to harm anyone. So it can be very confusing for you. And with all of the invalidation, all of the gaslighting, you may just be left to blame yourself. And you may try to fix everything. You may try to correct it all on your own. And it's just a very difficult thing to do after all of the chaos, all of the destruction. And it may just make you wonder about life, about the world, God. Because how can people like this do these horrible things to you and then get away with it? Not face any punishment, any discipline, any correction. They just get out clean and move on with their lives. And not only that, it seems like they're having a great time now. They're living their best lives. They're so happy after all of the things that they've done to you. So it can just make you wonder about God, about life. I mean, how is it even possible? How can someone do such horrific things to you and move on, live their best lives and be happy? Is that even possible? It may seem like it is. I know for many of you, it may seem like it is. And it seemed like that for me too. All of the horrible things that were done to me throughout my life. And not that I was ever anyone who wished anything on anyone, but I would see people just going off and just carrying on. Like they never did anything wrong, like I just deserved this treatment for whatever reason. But even then, I mean, even when things did go wrong, it's not like I could even really see it anyway. There wasn't ever anything where I was looking at it like, yes, this is it. This is the treatment that you deserve now. This is your punishment. I was never looking at it that way. Even though sometimes I did see things happening. But being the empath that I am, I just felt guilty, and I felt like it was my duty to step in and make them feel better, help them. Not seeing that, no, these are actually just the consequences of their actions. And this is it, you know, they could see how I was reacting, how I felt bad for them. And then they thought, oh, all right, it's very easy to blame this person because they just kind of take it on as though it's their fault anyway. And you may have noticed the same thing in your life. But yeah, I can tell you this. They do get what they deserve. They all do. And none of them escape it. None of them get away with it. Some of you may think, what about these notorious criminals? What about these people who did all of these horrible things, and by the time anyone found out about it, they were already gone, they were already dead? As an example, Jimmy Savile. It may look like he just managed to get away with all of these things, and by the time anyone found out about it, he was already gone anyway. But that's just it. You don't see what's happening to them behind the scenes. You don't see what's really going on. And you don't realize that the whole point of why they do these things is because they are already suffering. They're already facing their karma, their punishment. They're already going through it. Because I can tell you, I mean, anyone who's genuinely happy, at peace with themselves, anyone who's really doing good, they don't want to hurt anyone. They will want the best for you. They will want you to be happy. And this is how you know, they're already going through it. They're already dealing with their karma. And that's how you've got to look at it. It's just, you make the mistake when they're angry, when they're raging, when they're lashing out at you. You're looking at yourself like there's something wrong with you. And you're not looking at them to see that they are really suffering. They are really losing it to be raging like that, to be lashing out in the way that they do. They're really going through something. They're not feeling good about themselves. And it's building up so much pressure inside of them until they finally explode. Or they explode all over you. Because they can't even deal with it themselves. And this is it. This is the result of the things that they have done. That they don't want to accept. That they bury deep down inside. But it just keeps coming up. Feeling inadequate. Feeling like they're a bad person. And this is how you may have dealt with a narcissist who seemed like they had it all. And yet, they were jealous of you. They were envious of you. And they felt threatened by your happiness, by your individuality, by your freedom. When they had all of the money, the friends, everything. And they're worried about little old you. Because they know that with you, it's real, it's authentic. They can't be happy with anything they've got. Because they know that they don't deserve it. Because they didn't put in the work to earn it. It's all just a mask. It's the man behind the curtain, like in The Wizard of Oz. And this is why they're so miserable, because they have to wear these stupid masks and pretend to be something that they're not, to receive things that deep down they know they don't even deserve. So there is this duality to it, disconnection, trying to hold on to something that doesn't even belong to them. And this is how you see these inconsistencies, incongruencies in their character, personality, and behavior. It doesn't seem to line up with the type of person that they portray themselves to be, because that's not really them, and they're trying to be something that they're not, which builds up a lot of stress, pressure, which they have to offload onto you. Because no matter how much attention and admiration they get, it's never enough. Because it's not even real, it's not even them. And this is going through their minds every day. They're constantly going through it. This is why you may notice that when everything seems perfect, when everything is laid out exactly how they need it to be, and when you're doing exactly what they want you to do, when everything is perfect, that's when they lose it. That's when they just have to find something wrong. They have to mock or ridicule someone, blame them, point out some kind of flaw in something. They have to. Because everything may be perfect on the outside, but that just amplifies their insecurities. It amplifies everything that they know that they are deficient in, everything that they know that they lack. And this is why they deliberately create chaos and dysfunction. Wherever they go, that will follow them. They will never escape it. I can guarantee no matter where they are, who they're with, they're going to be creating chaos, drama, dysfunction. They're never going to be happy. This is why they just mock people and they act so silly. They can't just be normal. They can't take things seriously. They just have to act like a fool. They have to pick on people. They have to point out something wrong. You can never just be in harmony. It can never be that way with them. They will never be happy. Not with you or with anyone else. It may seem that way on the outside because they've got a point to prove to you that you are the problem. And they want to punish you. They want to make you feel bad. Like it's you. Something's wrong with you. You ain't good enough. You're to blame. And they want to make you jealous because they were jealous of you. And that's really where they got involved with you. That's why they wanted to control you out of jealousy, envy. So they do get what they deserve. They've been getting it for a very long time. And they're going to keep getting it. It's never going to stop. And this is the crazy thing about it, is that it's not coming from other people. Other people are not doing this to them. And this is the interesting thing that many of you may not have realized before. Because you think that their karma, their injustice comes from the outside, when actually, no. That would be abuse. Their karma is something that they create for themselves. They bring it on themselves. They create their own karma. And they do it by self-sabotaging, by not reflecting on themselves. Because when you don't reflect on yourself, it leads to damage, destruction. They push people away. They destroy their relationships. They do things that they know they shouldn't do. Cheat, lie, betray, steal. They're trying to fulfill a need from the external, unjustly, unlawfully, when they should be going within to get that. And so they create their own karma themselves. They are their own punishment. And they can choose to end their karma. They can choose to end their punishment by being real, by being true, by going within and taking accountability, accepting who they are, and then trying to be better, being honest with themselves. That is how they end their karma. But of course, as we know, they're never going to do that. They're never going to look within. They don't want to go through the pain that they deserve to go through, or at least that they should go through, as a result of the things that they have done. They don't want to go through that. And so they push it off onto you. They offload it onto you, when that's theirs and they should be dealing with it. Because what happens is when they put it onto someone else, in whatever way that they do it, whether it's projection, denial, deflection, blame shifting, gaslighting, double binding, cheating, lying, manipulation, whatever tactic they use to try and get off of themselves, they're just delaying the inevitable. And what they resist persists. This is why with time you will notice the demands become greater. Their satisfaction becomes less. They can't be happy with anything. And yet they keep demanding more, but nothing can ever fill that void. And it's like they need more and more of this drug, but it never satisfies them. They're never happy. They never find what they're looking for. And this is their curse. To where they're unable to find contentment, they need greater highs, they need more and more things, more and more people, more and more ideal relationships, more and more cars, houses. And they have to create more and more lies. And it's just for a tiny piece of just feeling normal for a short amount of time. This is how it ends up for them. And yeah, they have to do a lot. They have to do a lot of smearing, lying, cheating, deceiving. And for what? You know, you've got to think all of these operations that are going on. What are they getting out of it? Even if you see they're getting things, they're getting money, people, whatever. But what is that converting to inside of themselves? Sustainable happiness? Contentment? No. They never get any of that. While you may be sitting alone at home on your own, and your happiness is far more sustainable than it will ever be for them. And this is it. Sometimes they come back, even when they see that you're down, you're miserable, you're depressed. Would you ever believe it? They envy that as well. They envy you when you're down. They envy you when you're miserable, when you're not even happy with yourself. And why? Because at least you're still connected to yourself. At least you can see yourself, even if you don't see yourself as great as you actually are. You still have some awareness. You still have some feeling, passion, enthusiasm, even if it's negative. There's still some emotional depth there. They can't even feel anything. They're just always moody, angry, rageful. And this is it. Even when you're not doing too good, you're not too happy, you're on your own, they still come back and cause problems for you. Because they can't even get that for themselves. And it's always going to be like that for them. Emptiness. This is why they always need you to pour everything into them. Constant attention, validation, admiration, money and resources. And you give it all to them, what do you get? You don't get a thank you. You don't get any gratitude. You don't get nothing. And they tell you that they're not really happy, everything you're doing for them. And you think it's a lie. You don't really believe that can't be right after everything you've done. But no, listen to them. They're telling you the truth. A lot of times when they're angry, they do tell you the truth. They can't be happy. They can't feel good like you do. This is why they never have anything to give, anything to provide of value. Because that's just that you know when someone's feeling good. You know when someone is fulfilled with what you're doing for them, when they're satisfied with themselves, because they feel good enough to want to give, to want to share with you. And that's just it. What we got is what we want to share. We want to share what we have, whether that be positive or negative. And how much negativity have you gotten from them? Let that be a reminder to you. That's what they have to give. That's what they have to share. That's what they're feeling about themselves. And yeah, all you've got to do is look back at the treatment that you received. That's what they had to give to you. That's what was within themselves. That's how they felt about themselves. That's what they had to share. And you just got to look at it like that. I mean, that's what they had to share with you. Someone who's got that to share, you really think they're not getting what they deserve. The problem is, by you being in proximity to them, you're getting what they deserve. This is what happens. And like I said, they bring karma on themselves. And you getting around them, you're taking on their karma as well. But don't worry, because the karma that you suffer at the expense of someone else unjustly, that will be rewarded to you later in time. Karma never loses an address, and karma does refund. Because you didn't know that they were going through it. You didn't know that they were getting what they deserve. Here's something you've got to understand about narcissists. This is why people glorify it and how it can look so good on the outside. Because they may appear to succeed temporarily, but it never lasts. Someone who has a personality disorder, mental illness, they cannot produce long-term success. And typically the success is being created by other people, sources of supply, who eventually burn out over time, which then exposes the narcissist. Get this. You are like the glue that's holding them together. You are their backbone. You prevent them from falling apart with your supply. And if you weren't there to constantly react to everything, they would expose themselves. You are the reason why they don't have to expose themselves. Because you fuel them. You keep them going. And if it wasn't you, they would have to expose themselves to someone else. And if they couldn't get any closer supply, then they would really expose themselves to everyone. And that's exactly what happens. So the person who really sees it is the one who's closest to them. That's who they expose their self underneath the mask to. That's who gets to see that. And that's the person who is like the glue that's holding the mask together, preventing the mask from falling off in public. But when a narcissist isn't getting enough supply, they're going to have multiple sources, or even in public, you may notice that they casually undermine people or give them backhanded compliments. They always have some way to do it. But typically they will always do that because they can never get enough. They'll typically do these things to people who they don't have to deal with long term, or someone who's just like an acquaintance, to just kind of get their rocks off because they're not getting enough supply elsewhere. And they'll always have to do this to people because they don't want to look within. They don't want to accept themselves. And it's a miserable experience for them. I can tell you, anytime that you see someone who's in denial, someone who is projecting, blame shifting, they can't ever be happy. No one can ever be happy living a lie. And the closer you get to truth, acceptance, the better you are going to feel, the more energy you are going to have. And unfortunately, the more predators that you are going to attract. Because it is the truth, it is the acceptance that gives you that life. That's where it comes from. And that's why it's always people who are in denial, people who blame shift, people who act all innocent. They are the ones who go out and target people who are innocent and aware and steal their energy, because those people are connected to truth. They have integrity. So that's how that works. So all of their relationships, essentially, they are unstable and short-lived. There's no happiness in those relationships. There's no connection. I mean, how can you connect? Connect over what? Trauma? That's a trauma bond. Or connect around running away from your trauma, running away from your problems. That's not even a connection. That may be an attachment of some form, but it's not a real connection from one being to another person. And this is how it's so unstable. This is how it creates conflict so easily, because there's no real connection there. There's no real understanding of another person's feelings and needs. It's just all about themselves, and it will always be about themselves because of their trauma. They have to make it all about them. They have to use people to regulate them because they don't want to go within and deal with it themselves. And, you know, of course, there are people out there who typically, I mean, I'm sure many of you, myself included, discovering about what these people do, these narcissists, manipulating, exploiting, abusing, cheating, lying, stealing, betraying, all of these things. There's consequences there as well. Losing connections, losing friends, relationship partners, even their own children might turn against them. Because it's just one of those things, you know, when you're around someone who's dishonest and for such a long period of time, it just leaves you feeling like, am I next? Am I the next one that they're going to do it to? Are they going to lie to me next, steal from me? Because they had an excuse, a justification for why they did it to that person. And I know I'm not perfect. Or maybe they'll just make something up to do it to me. So it affects how people see them eventually, when they are exposed, when they are held accountable. And typically, good people aren't going to want to deal with them, if you're aware, because, why would you want to be around someone who engages in illegal or immoral things? If you're not that type of person yourself, it's going to turn you off. You're not going to want to be around it. And of course, the world that we live in, we have systems, and not always, but sometimes they do get held accountable in the law, and they do face consequences that way. And maybe they have to pay legal fees, court fees, whatever it may be. Of course, as many of us may have experienced already, these systems can be corrupt, and they do often end up further invalidating and gaslighting, punishing the victim. And of course, many YouTubers have mentioned this already, including Rebecca Zung, who is a lawyer for the top 1%. But it can happen sometimes. Sometimes they can get exposed. And typically if they do get exposed, it's because of a super empath. It's the super empath who typically will expose them, who's gone through a gradual process of healing and awakening, has developed strength and conviction in themselves, knowing who they are, and also with the desire to protect other people as well. So sometimes they may be exposed, they may be held accountable that way as well. But either way, it doesn't really matter, because no matter what they have, they know they don't deserve it. They know that they're frauds, so they're never going to be happy with anything anyway. And it's all just a drug, it's a distraction. They're not going to find fulfillment in anything, because they're not connected to truth. They don't accept the truth about themselves, about who they really are. And this is why they need so much supply. This is why they run people into the ground. So either way, like I said before, the worst thing you could ever do to them is to enable them, is to not expose them, not hold them accountable. Because then you're just giving room for the disorder to thrive and flourish and destroy them. And they're just going to want more and more. And they're just never going to find peace or happiness, which is what they're really looking for. They're never going to get what they want that way. So yeah, the worst thing you can do is just let them continue on. Because that way they're going to face their karma. And they do, if you look at a lot of celebrities these days, you can tell they're all going through it. And I don't know what they've done specifically. Of course, many celebrities are doing the wrong things. And they are facing the consequences. Many of them experience depression. They use drugs. They abuse their partners. They have affairs. All of these things. And you could just see, this is just the expression of someone who's really going through something. So yeah, naturally they will experience a lot of conflict, and Some of them will experience isolation. Although typically not for a long period of time, because they're always on the hunt for supply. And they're always going to find someone who will fall for the image. Typically someone who's unaware, or someone who's also preoccupied with their own image as well. But either way, it's really just a shallow connection or manipulation. Just superficial connections. That's the best that they get. And that's just it, because if they really had a loyal, loving, supportive partner who was there for them, they wouldn't have been coming after you, hoovering you, stalking you, harassing you. They do that because they've got nowhere else to go. And this is what it's like in these smear campaigns and with gang stalking. These people have no one who wants to deal with them. It's like they have no close friends, no family members who are going to support them and be there for them, who they can tell their problems to. So they just come after you. And it's sad, but this is how it is. They have to rely on a stranger. And, I'm not knocking people talking to strangers. I mean, many of us, we were strangers at first year. And we've never met in person. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with meeting a stranger. Of course not. It's, if it's about connection, instead of just trauma dumping. But that's what it's like with them. It's just trauma dumping. Just telling a stranger all of their problems. When it's like, no. Isn't that something you should share in a loyal, committed relationship where there's mutual trust and where you can confide in them? But this is how it is. It's because they haven't got anyone. And that's part of the isolation. Because any good person, once you have some awareness of this, you're going to feel very disinclined to want anything to do with them. Because you're going to be harmed. Any emotional investment into these types of people is going to get you harmed. You're not going to feel loved. You're not going to feel safe. They're going to hurt you. And they can't be vulnerable with you. And it's a problem you can never solve, you can never fix, because it's not yours to solve. It's not yours to fix, it's theirs. And yet, they're not going to come to you and accept it, where it's something like you can try and work through it with them. No, it's just going to be all you. This is why there's such a problem to deal with. And this is how some of them can end up isolated. If they can't find any codependents, any enablers, any good people like ourselves. And it's the same thing that's happened to me many times. Of course, I've been involved with many narcissists, and eventually I just got fed up. I got fed up of being abused, blamed for everything, have my life ruined by these people. And they're just causing problems in my life and making it out like it's my fault, and yet I can't do anything about it. It's not my problem to fix. I can't heal someone else. I can't fix their emotional problems. I don't have any special ability to do that. And so, why would I get involved with someone and just to take on their problem that they don't even accept about themselves? And this is why, we talk about going no contact, because what else can you do? You can't save them, you can't help them. And honestly, the best thing that could ever happen to them is if they do get what they deserve. Because it's not just that they get what they deserve and that's a bad thing. No, it's good for them. They need to get what they've put out. It has to come back to them. That's the only way that they are going to develop any self-awareness, if they ever do. It's the only way they'll ever take accountability is by that part of themselves that they put out into the world coming back to them. They don't want it to, but it's the best thing that could ever happen to them. For them to be held accountable. And I don't like to say punished, but to be disciplined, to be corrected. And of course, it's not a nice thing to go through. And I can talk about it from my own experience. How initially it's a horrible thing to go through. But what you put out into the world, it comes back to you, and then you have to face it. You have to go through it. It's kind of like taking personal responsibility for getting involved with these narcissists. It's painful at first, but once you go through it, you'll feel so much better and have so much more energy. Life will have so much more meaning. And you will enjoy things so much more. You will feel more regulated. You can have stable relationships, deeper bonds, deeper connections, everything. Once you go through that healing process. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen for most narcissists because they just carry on. They just keep going with it. They don't ever look within. They're always just externally focused, just thinking, how can I take what I've got and just dump it onto someone else so I can avoid it temporarily? Just creating conflict, drama out of nowhere, making enemies out of nothing. This is just how it goes for them. They burn every bridge eventually. Other than maybe some people who may be highly codependent and just never leaving their side because of the image or because of the narcissist confidence, really it's arrogance. It's just something that keeps them by their side. Or typically they may bond together. If it's two narcissists, they may bond together and target someone outside of the relationship. So it could work that way as well. But either way, I mean, there's no connection there. It's all superficial. So yeah, you know, long-term fulfillment, it escapes those who manipulate and exploit. People who are self-absorbed, lacking empathy, with this grandiosity. People who engage in immoral, illegal acts. They can never be happy. They can never find fulfillment in anything. They can't. And especially people who play these power games, people who are chasing power over people. They choose power over love. That's what they do. Anytime that you see anyone chasing power over love, over connection, they're never going to be happy. And that's just the true power comes from within. No power from anyone else is ever going to satisfy you because that belongs to them. And you're going to have to keep getting it from them. So yeah, it's definitely better to depend on yourself and to not need anything from anyone, narcissist or not. But yeah, to summarize, they do get what they deserve in the end. It does come back to them. What they put out eventually comes back. And not only does it come back, but it doesn't really go anywhere anyway. It stays with them. And they stay going through it. All of this projection, deflection, blame shifting, it doesn't get them anywhere. All they're doing is just turning away from themselves. When they're focusing all of this stuff onto you, looking for things wrong with you, blaming you, they're dissociating. That's all that they're doing. Whenever they feel envious, jealous, they're invalidating, taking from you, discrediting you. They're feeling insecure, so then they dissociate. They disconnect even further from themselves. And then they focus on you because you become the problem. They're externalizing their issue when really this is an issue within themselves. Any questions? Let me know. But honestly, I mean, they really get it the worst. I can have compassion for these people from afar. Honestly, we think we get it bad being victims. They get it the worst. Because think about it like this. I mean, they go through everything. They're constantly trying to fake it. They fake everything. They lie about it all. Deep down, they're miserable. They're constantly going through it. Never satisfied with anything. And it just keeps going. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for them. Because typically most of them, they never get better. They never heal. They never truly live life. They never truly connect to the world, to people, to themselves. They never feel anything of depth. Never feel any real happiness, real love, real connection, nothing. They never heal. They never move on. They stay stuck. And they just go through endless suffering, endless punishment. At least for us, we go through something, and then what happens? It brings us back to ourselves. We connect back to ourselves. And then we can connect on a deep level and experience true fulfillment, true peace. They never get that most of the time. It just keeps going on for them. So they really get it worse than anyone. And of course, it's very sad because you think about what happened to them in their childhood. They must have had horrific childhoods to turn out that way, to behave the way that they do. And it never gets better. They continue on like that and it never ends. And honestly, I can't even imagine what that must be like. I mean, I've gone through it for a very long time. I mean, much of my life. But that's just it. I didn't even know, I guess. I wasn't thinking about it that way. I mean, I'm not a narcissist myself, but as an empath, a codependent, I was asleep for much of my life. I didn't really wake up until I was maybe 28, 29. That's when I really began to have these awakenings. And I began to see the world as it actually is. Before that time, I was asleep. So I know what it's like to awaken, as many of you may do. And I know what it's like to be asleep in some ways, but it's kind of like a distant reality. I couldn't imagine being there myself again. It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I guess it's just a different experience for them. It may not be how we think. It's kind of, I mean, yeah, they're going through it. They are suffering. They are experiencing pain, distress. They're not happy with anything. But they don't really know why. And they don't really know what to do. And they can't see what's over the horizon. They can't see what could be theirs. So they don't know what they're missing. And that's just it. If they knew what life could be like, I'm sure they all would go through the process. And I guess that's just the test. You just got to have that belief in yourself. You got to have that belief in the truth, in reality. And they just haven't got that. But I got to say, it is much better to be awake, to be aware, to see things clearly. Because before I was asleep, and I definitely did not see things and connect to things on a deep level like I do now. Especially when I was younger, in my early, mid-20s, I never saw things this way. And now I do. Now I'm awake, now I'm aware, and I can experience a really deep fulfillment. Inner peace. Deep connections with people. And it was never like that before. But yeah, for narcissists, nope. It's never going to be like that for them, for most of them. But this is what the awakening process is about. I'm just looking through the live chat. I see what people are saying. Grape tea. Very intense flavor. Maybe because I didn't get any extra sugar. Marissa Paula says, you have been labeled a scapegoat. That never changes. Yeah, but this is the thing. I mean, in order to have that mindset, you are idealizing these people who are labeling you the scapegoat. Like you're seeing it as though you've got to win their approval. And this comes from childhood trauma. You should be wanting to get away from those people. I mean, anyone who scapegoats anyone, these are traumatized people. They have a lot of issues. Normal people don't do that. So don't worry about how they label you. And, remember, with us and the narcissist, we labeled them as narcissists or as toxic people, abusive or whatever. We're not doing that to put them down or to ridicule them or to think that we're better than them. That's not what victims do. We wanted them to be better. We wanted them to change. So we're not like having a laugh at them or anything. But these people who just label you as a scapegoat and just turn against you, mock you, betray you, who cares what they think? They never had your best interest in mind anyway. So what do you need them for? Just forget about them and just find better people that they can go and find someone else to do that to. Because they're not connected to themselves. Ellie123 is asking about government involvement in community stalking. But I'm going to reserve more videos for gang stalking topics. I'm currently editing a gang stalking video now, and it should hopefully be up tomorrow. It's a follow-up on the video I did 3 months ago. I had 40,000 views. This one's going to be called 13 Deepest Signs You're Being Gang Stalked. And there's going to be much more to come as well. And of course, at some point, I will be exploring if the government is a part of it in some videos. And, well, you got to think, I mean, just briefly, there would have to be some government involvement. So it suggests that you may be a whistleblower. They don't want anyone to listen to you. They don't want anyone to believe in you. Me personally, I mean, if someone told me not to believe in someone, not to listen to them, that would be the first thing that I'd do. I'd want to know, like, what's going on with you? Why are you being silenced? What information do you have? But somehow so many people are just stupid, if it is government involvement, and they just work together to silence the very people who they should probably be listening to themselves, because they're just so brainwashed. But this is the thing. It's as Army veteran and human behavior expert, neurologist as well, Chase Hughes mentioned in a recent video. He said that people will do anything that authority tells them to do. And they even did lab experiments where they shocked people, and the authority told them to keep increasing the voltage, even though it was well over the amount that it could kill the person. And the people they went on with it. They didn't question the authority, nothing. Because people will do pretty much anything that authority tells them to do. Thank you, Terry. That's very kind of you. He says it's an awesome t-shirt. Yeah, I like my Nikes. I've always liked Nike ever since I was a teenager. But it was really the trainers that I was into back then. I saw these trainers with springs on them. These bouncy trainers, like Airs. Everyone wanted them. They were £120. Keep in mind, this was about 22 years ago. £120 trainers, Nike. But yeah, I love my Nikes. And actually, when I first blew up on YouTube, one of the first things I did, I went and ordered. Actually, no, well, it was some Nike tracksuits and Armani tracksuits on sale, of course. And also, I think I ordered about 3 pairs of Nike trainers, because it's like I never had any money, and then I'm making these videos, and then finally I could afford to buy Armani tracksuits, Nike trainers, everything. So I was loving it. Because yeah, I was definitely in need of some new clothes. But the first thing, of course, was to upgrade my equipment and everything. And hopefully that's what I can do again very soon. If I keep putting out the content, I'd like to get a new phone, a new laptop, new microphone. Because my equipment is old now. It's years old. It's quite slow, and I just can't put out the type of quality that I should be putting out. Could be much clearer audio, everything. And that was always my concern. I always got new microphones, new laptops, new phones. But it takes time, you know. I'm gonna just keep putting out the content, and gradually then I will upgrade my equipment. And you know, of course, with better equipment means better content. Sometimes they do, not always loud banging, but gentle tapping as well. It's all, like sometimes they'll bang the floor really loud, and then, you know, because they assume you hear that, and you're going to be waiting for the next shoe to drop. So then they'll do like gentle tapping to try and sensitize you to it. It's sad, I mean, you know, these people are so desperate for attention. They've got no families or friends who care about them. I mean, if it was me, if that was like my family member, my friend or something, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you like sitting in this room 24 hours a day just banging the floor? Or why are you driving around like in a red car, like trying to like harass people? And that's just it, you know, that's how you know these people, they don't have anyone who loves them. Because if anyone loved them, if anyone actually cared about them, that'd be the first thing they'd be telling them. They'd be saying, like, why are you going around like harassing people in your red car with a red t-shirt? Why are you banging the floors? Why are you following this person around? That's the first thing they would say to them. But no one tells them. It's sad, isn't it? They've got no one there who gives a damn about them. And it's us, the targets. We're the ones who are looking at them thinking, you know, what's wrong with you? You know, why are you doing this? And they like that. It excites them. That's what draws them to us, because we then become like a very close friend to them in some ways. We become their family member, we become their parent, because we're the only person who actually cares. It's sad. And for us as well. Can't forget about us. I mean, that's how we end up in these communities, because no one cares. It's not just no one cares about us, no one cares about them as well. That's why they target us. Marisa Paola says, my father tried to feed me rat poison when I was 5 because he wanted to play cards with his mates instead of celebrating my birthday. Now that is messed up. I have to say, that's probably one of the worst things that I've heard. I can't imagine how anyone could do that to anyone, let alone a 5-year-old girl. I mean, that's horrible. Of course, children should be loved, they should be protected. They shouldn't be fed rat poison. They should be fed good, healthy, clean food. I would say vegan food, but of course, that's because I'm a vegan. But yeah, that's really bad. They will do anything if they think they can get away with it, especially to children, animals. I just don't understand. I can't put myself in their shoes. I just can't think, what are they going through that's so bad that they could do these things? And just such sick things like that. And they do it to animals, children. And especially, you look at them, whether it's a child or even like my cat Nala, you look at them and they have such big eyes and they look so innocent. And it's like you can tell they're trusting in you to do the right thing. And it's like, how could you go ahead and do that and not feel anything, not feel any guilt? Guilt, before you do anything, just even having the thoughts. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, maybe I could understand the thoughts. I mean, if there's a parent who has a lot of pressure on them and they're going through so much stress and they're thinking, oh, I wish I could just feed my kid rat poison so I could just forget about them and play with my mates. That I could kind of understand it if they're going through something unbearable. But when the thoughts lead to, you're thinking it out of how you're going to do it and then you do it, it becomes unfathomable for me. But that's just it, they're asleep, they're in a trance. They're of a very low consciousness when they do these things. They're not awake and aware. They do know what they're doing, but they're kind of asleep. And, it has nothing to do with connection. It has nothing to do with who you actually are as a person. So don't ever blame yourself for these things. Don't ever think that there's anything wrong with you. Their actions just say everything about themselves. But yeah, this is how it is, it seems. Narcissistic parents, they always seem to have custody of their children to where they're able to do these things. And typically, it's like they seem to be the only person around them. Also in relationships as well, the narcissistic parent, the narcissistic relationship partner, they always manage to isolate their sources of supply to where they're able to do these things. Yeah, these people always get what they deserve. And you just got to look at their behaviors and to see how they are disconnected from themselves, constantly seeking escapism, constantly trying to confuse you, pull you out of reality. At any moment, you've just got to ask. I mean, don't ask them, of course, but you're just going to get a stupid answer, but ask yourself, what is it with you and truth, reality, authentic experience? Why are you so disconnected from it? Why are you hiding from it? Why are you trying to pull me away from it? And that's just it. They can't enjoy life. They can't experience any satisfaction with themselves, and that's just what it is. So they'll always get what they deserve. I mean, they're on this earth. You're here living this life. You can't even do nothing with it. You can't even enjoy yourself, be happy with yourself. You can't just even live. You can't be connected to reality. You've got to escape. You've got to use your addictions, your alcohol, drugs. Sometimes people, their supply is their drug as well. They've got to focus on their image. They have to put the focus on their car, their possessions, or whatever it may be, their job. It can't just be themselves interacting with the world, with a life, connecting to themselves and from themselves to the world, from themselves to another person or to an activity. This is how you know when someone is struggling. When they do something else. When they're jealous. sabotaging. And this is because of trauma. Because without that trauma, you can enjoy the world, you can enjoy life. Unfortunately, you do become very attractive to predators, and then they will come after you. God, it's crazy though how far they go. They send these like red cars everywhere, even like all the way down there. They like pull up by there. And I had one stop by there before to try and get my attention, and down that other road. I mean, this is like, it's like a 2-mile radius. It's like, all right, you know, you don't have to keep confirming to me that there's nothing better going on in this entire area than me sitting on this chair doing my YouTube video. It's like, yeah, I'm already aware of that. I don't need constant confirmation. I know that this is the best place to be. I know that I'm a hot commodity because I'm connected to myself and I'm just doing me. I'm having an authentic connection. Something they cannot have. Something they cannot do. And, you know, it's sad, but it's just how it is. They don't want to. Collective consciousness. Hiatus says the narc will make you break no contact so they can be the one to reject. Anytime they try and get you to break contact, it's because they haven't moved on. They haven't healed. They haven't experienced any growth. They're still just the same. This is how they come back, like nothing happened. And they go back to using the same tactics. It just reveals their immaturity, their lack of development. They've been the same way their entire lives since they were children, and they're always going to be that way. And yeah, you'll notice that when they try and get you to break no contact, when they hoover you, when they try and bait you back in, it's just like they're telling you, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still just a little kid in an adult's body. I haven't grown up, I haven't moved on. And it's just really sad. Especially since when I look back at my own growth. I mean, I've evolved so much. I've gained such a level of knowledge, awareness. Of course, you know, I've had to deal with a bunch of losers as well. But despite that, I still keep doing what's right. I still keep going. And, you know, that's just another demonstration of my strength. But yeah, not long now, flying out to the Philippines. You know, it's interesting. Many years ago, I actually, the first time I ever met someone from the Philippines, this was when I was on the coach going to college. And somehow I just sat next to this girl. And I couldn't tell where she was from. I had to sit down and ask her. And I was actually very shy. I didn't normally talk to anyone. But there was something about this girl, and she just seemed so attractive to me that I had to speak to her. And so we're just sitting on the coach together. I think this was on the way back from college, and we were both about maybe 17. And I still remember to this day, she was just really attractive. She had like a really big smile, nice teeth, long black hair, light brown skin, quite petite. And yeah, that was the first experience I ever had with someone from the Philippines. Very beautiful girl. And then another time with a girlfriend that I had. She was Indian. And something in Starbucks or something, she met this guy who just happened to be gay, apparently. But she was very flirtatious as well. She was quite narcissistic. Well, actually, very narcissistic. And yeah, she met this guy who was meant to be gay. And he was from the Philippines as well. So there's two people I met from there before. Once when I was 17, and then again when I was 22. I never thought I would go there myself, though. That was never really anywhere I was thinking to go. I just ended up going there because, you know, I went from Malaysia. This was a couple of years ago. I went from Malaysia to Vietnam, Taiwan, and then Japan. And then I thought, should I go to Hong Kong? Should I go back to Taiwan again? And Hong Kong is quite expensive. I didn't really want to go back to Taiwan. I already saw everything there. And then I saw, oh, there's another option. There's somewhere else that I can stop on the way back to Malaysia, the Philippines. And then I just ended up going there. So it's weird how things happen like that. But yeah, I met two people from the Philippines before. They were both very friendly, very charming people, just kind, just nothing wrong with them. They just seemed really nice. But of course, you know, this was before. This was when I was 17, when I was 22. And, you know, as we all know, I mean, a lot has changed since that time. I mean, this is 10, 15 years ago. The world has changed rapidly since that time with social media. You know, narcissism, as we all know, is really on the rise, and the superficiality, especially in this part of the world more than anywhere, I would say. It's really because, you know, these are all developing countries. And of course, when something's developing, there's going to be an element of narcissism there. Yeah, things were very different before, of course. Even in Malaysia, I mean, when I first came here in 2020, it was a completely different vibe to what it's like now. Now it's very different. And, you know, like 5 years ago, you wouldn't really hear anything about any scams, con artists, or like gold digging women who just rob the men, the foreign men, of everything. You wouldn't have heard anything about that 5 years ago. And I'll Google about it now, or search for videos about it. It's everywhere. Foreign men are getting conned all the time. It's happening to so many people. In many different countries as well. I've seen so many different things. So many just like trivial, just ridiculous things that got them into trouble with the law and, you know, got them put in jail, everything. It's crazy. There's a lot of things happening, and this is, especially in the last few years, I don't know what it is, and I'm seeing all of these videos online as well. But it's good because I want to keep seeing it. I want to be aware of all of this. And yeah, like psychologist Ross Rosenberger said, you have this narcissometer, and it's your self-love. That's what keeps it working. And it will help you to see the narcissist everywhere. And, you may feel a bit afraid at first, see them everywhere. But like he says, like psychologist Ross Rosenberg says, that's good. You want to see them everywhere. You want to know what you're dealing with. You don't want that fantasy anymore. It gets you into trouble. That's what created all of these problems for us. We want to see them as they actually are. And as long as you practice self-love, you will see them everywhere and they will expose themselves to you. It's when you don't love yourself, when you aren't aware, that's when they can go undetected. That's when they will choose to go undetected. So keep loving yourself. Keep practicing self-care and see them everywhere. Because, that's just reality. That's just the truth. And when you connect to the truth, that's how you feel good about yourself. Notice how when you don't see them, when you're unaware, you don't feel good then. Because you're not connected to truth. You see how it all links together. But yeah, I will be back in the Philippines in a few days. I booked my condo there. Got a gym and a pool. And I'm looking for condos in Davao, which is another city in the Philippines that I haven't been before. So when I get there, you will see some more content on Instagram, exploring. I'll be doing some videos there as well. And then hopefully go into Samal Island, which is near Davao City. Probably some nice beaches there. Great place to do some videos. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going after that. Nala will be going back to Britain. So something different for her. After she's been traveling traveling the world all of these years. So yeah, some things to look forward to. And lots more content on the way. But let's make sure that this video gets out there, because I'm sure many people will be interested to hear about this. Many people will want to know, does the narcissist finally get what they deserve? So give it a thumbs up. Let's work together to get it out there. And if you are new here, subscribe. Click all notifications. Then you will be notified when I go live again or when I upload a new video. And leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with what I've said in this video. If you have anything else to add. And also, if you have any questions, just drop it down below in the comments And I am available for one-on-one coaching. You can book with me by going to narcsurvivor.co.uk. You're also welcome to donate, which you can do through my PayPal. It is paypal.me/narcsurvivor. We have a new Facebook group. It's called Narc Survivor. Join us on there. There's new videos every day. And it's free. And also you can follow me on Instagram. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. So yeah. Well, the narcissists finally get what they deserve. They will. They're getting it already. That's it for this one. Thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor Live video. And I look forward to speaking with you in another one very soon.